Hello guys, and welcome to another video on Macho Future channel. And today we'll be talking about four things that will be tied together very succinctly, I hope. We're going to be talking about the future again. Of course, this is why this channel is all about the future. And we're going to be talking about full self-driving. We're going to talk about what the state of full self-driving is and what kind of approaches we have at the moment. We're going to be talking about how these numbers are crunched and processed for analysis, and any major future applications of this procedure that will be beneficial, okay, to humans and society. So right now we have a bunch of competitors going at it to be the first to get the self-driving as a product on the road. You may have heard or even taken a Waymo, a cab. This is Google's approach. They are basically having a bunch of opportunities in San Francisco and other cities where you can get into like a minivan type of self-driving car. It's usually a Dodge, I believe. And it will take you from A to B as long as it's within a geofenced area. What that means, geofence, is that that area that it can operate inside has been thoroughly mapped and down to a few centimeters, and it's these maps have to be updated and made sure that they're current, so that the vehicle can go off of those maps as a base. And of course, then there's the LiDAR aspect. They have this thing on the roof, if you'll notice, if you're a client, and all that is basically a similar to radar, where it sends out and receives a bunch of dots that it then assembles into an image, and it tells it where some obstructions are to make it's like a double take to make sure that above the cameras that it uses, it doesn't drive into anything. So they've been at it for a while now. They've been going for over 6 years. The initial project obviously was with drivers, which was very expensive because these were professionals, and not only were they professional drivers, but they were engineers as well. They were aware of what the car was doing. Their input was very important, and it still is, of course. And they've been able to get to this point where now the driver is missing. I believe they're still monitored from a remote area, all these drives, so that there is a person looking in on the drives, making sure nothing goes wrong. And so far, it's been all right. However, the problem with this approach by Google and the company Waymo, right, is that it's not really scalable, if you know what I mean. In other words, it's not scalable quickly. So in order to take that same service and put it in Baton Rouge, for example, you would need a bunch of things, very data intensive and work intensive things to happen in Baton Rouge for the same system to be deployed. And that would take a lot of time, money, effort, and it's possible, but as far as speed and scalability, it's poor, right? So it's not necessarily the best way to go in today's quick changing pace of demands from the public, right? So that's one approach. The other approach that is very popular is the Tesla full self-driving, where they have decided to go a different route. They've scrapped. They had some LiDAR at the beginning of the project, but they've scrapped it. It's no longer there, and all they have is 8 very high resolution cameras on the vehicles that they rely on. So the entire system is reliant on these cameras. So they're strategically placed on every vehicle. And the beauty of this is that every Tesla vehicle ever made pretty much has those. So technically speaking, every Tesla that is being produced or is being driven out there right now could be part of this program if the owner wishes so. So that is very advantageous because For those that have actively participated, there's about 60,000 currently Tesla owners that are part of the beta program, and they're actively daily collecting data for the program. That's a lot of data. That's a lot of great data, real world data that Tesla can use to train its Dojo supercomputer and its program that is being run. And again, Dojo is not necessary for this, but it definitely can be used to crunch all these numbers, because for the longest time Tesla had technicians looking at these videos and these interventions by drivers and stitching together a three-dimensional vector space where they could see and learn from. It was very time intensive and work intensive, and it was a great effort, but they've been able to automate that lately, and it's really sped up the process, as you saw in my last video with the San Francisco drive. That was pretty impressive for January of 2022, right? So that's those are the two main approaches. There's a few other. There's Coma AI. There's basically a program that you can use your smartphone that you can put in your below your rearview mirror, and based on its vision, it can do some basic things like stop and go traffic, red, green light, keeping you in lanes, which is very impressive for just being able to download an app on your phone, right? That is another approach. However, it has limitations on other things that these other two systems are much better at. So that's where we are roughly today. I'm missing a few, but those are the big players right now, and that's where we are. If you're into levels, level 1, level 2, level 5, we're roughly at a solid 2 and clawing at level 3 for autonomy. However, if you truly are in this space and you know what the details are, you realize this level 1 to 5 is pretty stupid, because it was created a bunch of years ago when we didn't know what we didn't know yet. And now that we know a lot more from all these interventions and all these examples and that are very unique to the program that we're trying to solve, these levels are just silly, right? Basically, the question is, at the end of the day, for getting levels, the question is, can the car drive itself or not, right? And at this moment, if Tesla succeeds, for example, with their vision-only system, the benefit of that is that it's truly scalable. If that works and is approved by regulators in New York, for example, that vehicle will then be able to, same vehicle or other Tesla vehicle, will be able to be dropped off in Istanbul, and not immediately, but probably within a couple of months, will also be able to drive by itself, as long as the regulators in Turkey approve it. So that's the beauty of this system, which, in my personal opinion, will be the one that prevails, because it's truly scalable. It will be able to drive anywhere. And as such, it won't have the hindrances. It doesn't need geofence mapping. It doesn't need any specific data other than clear vision and the data that it already crunched and analyzed in the past, which is fantastic, right? So that's where we are on that topic. And then the beauty of, again, Tesla, that seems to be ahead in a lot of ways in this space, is that they already have a team and a computer that can take all this data that they're gathering. It's not dumb data, right? It's very and make it from not so usable to very usable. And I think I'm guessing here, but they're probably already working on a package of that data that they can present very succinctly to regulators that will make sense to them, because just data alone, as you know, is not necessarily valuable. It's data that can be presented in very structured ways that people value, right? That you can use in models, or you can use in in annual reports where this is how much we're going to reduce traffic accidents or pedestrian accidents by, because of the data that is in front of you. That's what we're after, right? And this is where Tesla shines, because that's what they're accumulating at the moment, and it's all real world. None of this is in a lab or in some kind of closed off environment. It's all in real world, real time traffic, UPS buses, drivers, jaywalkers, all kinds of dogs, all kinds of data you would not expect in a artificial setting necessarily, right? So why is all this important? Well, it's important because if you're not aware, Ark Invest, an investment firm, just released their big ideas for 2022, and I'll link below to the actual report so you can read up on it. But their biggest idea for this year is the precipitous cost drop. In other words, cost savings of AI. So at the beginning of AI, when back 15 years ago, when we even started down this rabbit hole, it was extremely expensive to train it. That's why very few people and few companies took the approach of training it, because it was just, you needed very deep pockets. Well, the cost has come down incredibly, so much so that not only will the demand for AI grow towards 2030, but the cost will be so non-prohibitive that you will have small businesses even taking advantage of this opportunity. So when you put that into context, and they've done a great job, and you can read the whole report if you'd like. What I'm saying is, this is going to be a tremendous opportunity, not just as a financial investment if you're into that. And this is not investment advice by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just presenting data. You will see that Ark Invest, but other investors will jump on this, and this part of the economy that was not even present before will mushroom into an incredible opportunity and part of our economy. And if you don't believe me, if you perhaps caught the Amazon earnings from the other night, they surprised with a huge beat on the AWS, especially part of their business. I believe the street was looking something around $5 per share for earnings, and they almost quadrupled that. And what they've shown by doing so is not just the value of their company, but the incredible profit margin on program, right? On a program-based, software-based system. It's incredible. And this is what we're talking about here today, is how valuable software and scalability is in the future. So this is going to be, again, very deflationary, very much money saving for our society, which is what we want. And what we're looking at now is, how can we take all this progress that's happening a lot faster than before and apply it in an intelligent way to our future. This is what Elon Musk talks about, and he is often misunderstood by analysts and stockbrokers, because they look at the numbers from the quarter and they're like, well, you're not putting out any new model vehicles this year, and you're going to delay the Cybertruck, and all this kind of like whiny, almost like kid-like wishes. I wish you would do that and this, and they don't stop and truly listen to what Mr. Musk is saying, because Mr. Musk is actually saying, look, our number one priority that has never changed is to transition the world to sustainable transport as soon as possible, right? We're not going to be doing that by putting out fancy new models of, as my cat disagrees, we're not going to be doing that, because that's not aligned with our goal. Yes, in time we will absolutely stay true to our promises for the Semi, the Roadster, the Cybertruck, and the battery day model, cheaper vehicle. However, that can't that cannot trump our goal, which is to first and foremost accelerate the transition to sustainable transport. So ultimately, to wrap things up here, all of what I'm talking about, the AI, the full self-driving, the dojo, the robots, right, that I mentioned in the previous video, all that this is a staging for the huge move for our civilization to set up shop on Mars. And I mean, Mr. Musk has been very vocal about this to anyone that will listen, and that is that two things that he said, that he stressed. First, we need a plan B. And he is doing everything in his power to do this plan B of setting up a base on Mars without using taxpayer dollars. With basically earning enough money from his businesses, Boring Company, SpaceX, Neuralink, and Tesla, so that it's not going to cost the world anything crazy to make that very expensive move to set up a plan B, a viable plan B on Mars. And the reason why that's so important is that as much as we are now in a very nice post-Younger Dryas climate spell of warmth and abundance on this planet, that's not guaranteed for the next 50,000 years or even 5. We don't necessarily have that much time. So the urgency is real and it's intelligent, because if you ever look at any documentaries about our planet, you'll quickly realize my cat really wants to get in the shot, guys, so you might see her in a second. But what you'll quickly realize is that we've been hit before many times by asteroids, by comets, by other phenomena, and it's not a guaranteed thing, guys. We take the next day for granted, but the smart people don't. So to wrap this up, all of this is necessary for this Mars mission, because the first 2 probably trips will be with robots. And those robots better be able, once they get there, to set up shop, do as much work as possible for the actual humans when they go, for there to be something to go to have some basic systems, recycling, or just things that'll make it easier to start building up this base, so that if and when something does happen on Earth, we won't be just done for. We'll have a plan B. We can rebuild, and that'll be limiting the damage of whatever happens on Earth. So hopefully you found this interesting, guys. Thank you for spending some time with me and talking about the future. The future is exciting, in my opinion. It can be even more exciting if we look at it in a positive way. So thank you. Smash the like button if you liked it. And we'll keep talking about very positive future events and programs and projects on this channel. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.